What is a dimensional collapse? It's something that's been foreshadowed in this story for a long time. It's been called a calamity, something so disastrous that it can't even be described. And they don't tell us, they don't describe it, they just say how horrifying it is. But, as of chapter 537, I think I've cracked the code into what a dimensional collapse is. And it all starts with Bruingrid, the Dragon Knight, the chief of the monster tribe that we call the Forsaken. But who is he really? And why is he here? He tells us to an extent, but can we really believe what he tells us? Yes and no. As Hansu said, the best lies are the ones with little bits of truth sprinkled inside. But I'm gonna break down those lies and truths to get to the bottom of the mystery. Who is Bruingrid? And what is his relation to the dimensional collapse? Fact number 1. Bruingrid is immortal. He was an ally of Gabrielis, who discovered the labyrinth thousands of years ago. But you know who else is immortal? The first king of Rafdonia, the immortal king who lived for thousands of years and only died 150 years ago. With this information, we can infer that Bruingrid's immortality grants him eternal youth, but does not render him unkillable. Keep that in mind for later, that's important. Fact number 2. Bruingrid is currently residing in the body of a monster. When asked why, he just said, I woke up like this one day, no big deal. And the monster tribe around him, he said they were probably just like him, people trapped in monsters' bodies. Oh, but they lost their memory, so he had to teach them everything on his own. I think that is a half-truth. I think he did teach them language. But back then, they had just been regular old monsters. That's why they drop mana stones when they die. However, let's move on to fact number 3. In this world, we know that languages can be taught to beings instantaneously. We see this with Bjorn. He was able to instantly learn the ancient language. When he asked Raven if gaining knowledge instantly has happened to anyone else before, she said no. But she was wrong. You know who else instantly learns a language? Evil spirits. Upon coming to this world, they learn to speak the Rafdonian language perfectly and instantly. I think Bruingrid used this ability to teach languages instantly to these random monsters. Fact number 4. The power to grant language is deeply linked to evil spirits. If Bruingrid has this power, it is possible he has other powers linked to evil spirits. Like maybe, I don't know, putting a person's soul into another body? Maybe even putting his own soul into the body of a monster. But why? Well, it all comes back to the dimensional collapse. So what is it? What is a dimensional collapse? I wasn't sure until a recent chapter. Bruingrid said, during a dimensional collapse, human bodies fall from the sky and into the basement. We've already learned that when the labyrinth resets, monsters from all the upper floors fall down into the basement. Monsters fall from the sky because they are still in the labyrinth when it closes. Do you see where I'm going with this? Humans are falling into the labyrinth basement during a dimensional collapse because they're still in the labyrinth when it closes. That means a dimensional collapse is when all upper floors collapse into nothing and everyone and everything there falls to the basement floor. It was revealed that the palace has the power to cause a dimensional collapse on purpose. How would that be? Simple. All they have to do is mess with the portals into the labyrinth. That way, adventurers aren't sent back to Rafdonia when the labyrinth closes. And therefore, they suffer. But back to Bruingrid. With fact number 5, we know that before Bjorn, the only way to get to the basement floor was through a dimensional collapse. But you know what? Fact number 6, Bruingrid was on floor B1 before Bjorn unlocked the portal. How? Because he must have been tossed down there during a dimensional collapse. We know that Bruingrid is a powerful immortal, so it wouldn't be far-fetched to say that he could survive the fall into the basement floor. But immortal doesn't mean unkillable, remember? So what if he was mortally wounded during the fall? If his body was about to fall apart or be destroyed, what if he was able to move his soul into the body of a nearby monster in order to survive? Fact number 7. Being immortal is lonely. Imagine being trapped in a monster's body for the longest time with no one to talk to. It would make sense that you would want to teach language to the other monsters who look just like you, just so you could have someone to talk to. And last fact number 8. Here's the clincher. The bodies in the basement are suspicious. Bruingrid said they fell from the sky and he kept them because they were important to him. But who could they be? Well, if Bruingrid was in the labyrinth during the dimensional collapse, I doubt he was alone at the time. He probably had all his clan and friends there with him when everything fell apart. I think the bodies down in his basement are the bodies of all his loved ones who were killed during the dimensional collapse. And do you remember the journal with an unknown author that he shared with Bjorn? It wrote about a sole survivor from the dimensional collapse, one who talked about his teammates dying. I think this was Bruingrid's journal, one that recounted his friends, and one where he promised to survive and share their message with the world. What is that message? What does he want to share with the world so badly? I don't know, but I can't wait to find out. This is Elf Nuna Love, signing out.